this damn ebook brought to you by the one and only Classtro. Note, this novel based on fictional events created by the author himself, no characters or places mentioned in it were real. Not everyone deserved to live. Weezer had always been that kind of man, the one who strutted into every room as if the floorboards owed him applause. He believed the world revolved around him, and everyone else was merely a supporting actor in the grand play of his life. His younger brother, Samuel, however, was the opposite, kind, humble, and endlessly patient. Despite Weezer's arrogance, Samuel always tried to include him in family gatherings, hoping one day he might change. The dinner. One evening, Samuel decided to host a large family dinner at a seaside restaurant famous for its fish. He invited friends, relatives, and, of course, his older brother Weezer. The atmosphere was lively, the smell of grilled fish filled the air, and laughter danced across the tables. But halfway through the evening, Samuel received terrible news: a close friend had been injured in an accident. Without hesitation, he rushed out of the restaurant to help, leaving Weezer among the guests. The moment Samuel left, Weezer leaned back in his chair, snapping his fingers for the waiters. "You there. Bring me the best fish you have, no, make it the most expensive one. And clean this table properly, I can't dine like a king on a dirty throne," he barked. The waiters, assuming Weezer was the main host and the one paying, hurried to please him. Soon, plates of golden brown fish, exotic seafood platters, and lavish side dishes crowded his table. Weezer devoured them greedily, grumbling between bites, "Not bad, but I've had better in Paris." When one of the waiters brought a slightly delayed dish, Weezer exploded. "Is this how you serve your guests? Pathetic. I'll have you fired for this." By the time the evening ended, his table looked like the aftermath of a royal feast: bones, shells, and empty wine glasses everywhere. The bill. When Samuel returned, exhausted but relieved that his friend was stable, he went to settle the restaurant bill. The owner smiled politely and handed him the total. Samuel's eyes widened. The amount was astronomical. "This must be a mistake," he said softly. "No, sir," replied the owner. "Your brother insisted on the finest dishes. We assumed he was the one paying." Samuel glanced at Weezer, who was now humming proudly while checking his watch. For a moment, anger bubbled inside him, but he swallowed it. Without a word, he took out his wallet and paid the full amount. He smiled faintly and thanked the owner, though his heart sank. That night, he said nothing to his brother. The betrayal. Months later, Samuel received a business call. He was assigned an important transaction in another state, Shonina. The trip would take weeks, and accommodations there were expensive. He remembered Weezer had bought an apartment in Shonina, so he called him. "Weezer, could I borrow the keys to your apartment while I handle some business there? Just for a few days." "Hotels are costly," Samuel asked politely. Weezer laughed coldly. "What? My apartment? Sorry, brother, but I don't just hand over my property. You can afford a hotel, can't you?" Samuel was silent for a moment. "I understand," he said quietly before hanging up. He stayed in the cheapest hotel he could find, small, cold, and noisy. The stress of travel and work weighed on him. When he finally returned home, exhaustion overcame him. Days later, he suffered a massive heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. He didn't make it. The funeral. The entire family gathered to mourn Samuel. The air was thick with sorrow. But there was one face missing, Weezer's. He didn't show up. No call. No flowers. Nothing. Samuel's son, Jackson, noticed this. His heart hardened as he watched the others weep. From that day forward, he vowed never to speak to his uncle again. Years passed. Time dulled the pain, but not the bitterness. When news came that Weezer had died of old age, Jackson felt nothing, no sadness, no pity, only a quiet, burning satisfaction. The final act. On a cold, gray morning, Jackson drove to the cemetery. He stood before his uncle's grave, the name, Weezer M., carved into stone. He stared at it for a long time, remembering his father's kindness, and how Weezer had crushed it under his pride. Jackson unzipped his pants and, without a word, relieved himself on the grave. "Rest in the world you thought you ruled," he whispered. He turned and walked away, never looking back.